We're having a day, people. We're having a day.
Indeed we are.
We hope your day is going both better than our days right now.
It's right better now.
Yes. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Face Mask Fantasy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hope y'all are doing well.
Wherever you are in the world, whatever's going on in your day.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Hunter?
What's going on, everybody?
How you doing, man?
Appreciate everybody who's popping in. Whether you're here for a little while or a long time.
Rojo, what's happening?
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, we look forward to it every Tuesday and Thursday too.
We do.
And
this is the this is the part of the day where it's like, this is good.
Yeah, it helps us get through the off season because Nick probably is sick of me reaching out to him every time I want to talk about fantasy football.
I mean, I almost hit you
we
up
get to talk
about
to y'all, so it makes it a lot more enjoyable.
I almost texted you today. I was like, do I want to start going down a rabbit hole about a trade? But I thought better of it.
Bro, the answer is always yes.
I know.
The answer is always yes. Hit me up after the stream, bro. You already know. But yo, our members are in here. What's going on, Hunter? What's going on, Rojo? Kyle, what's going on?
This. 1 second.
Technical difficulties. We were having them before we went live. Looks like we're not out of the woods, but
we're okay.
Yeah, y'all. Yo, for you members, we got a few more emojis for you guys, so you guys can have a little bit more fun in the chat. But yeah, what's popping? Well, I'm trying to think of what
my stuff is fixed now.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, everybody.
I'm trying to think of what the biggest news was over the past few days. Now, I guess it's Ronald Jones.
Auden Tate, wide receiver 1 in Atlanta.
Auden Tate, yeah, I guess.
He's an analytics darling, man.
There we go, Hunter.
Got to throw that out there.
We got some ABs, some sideways Aaron Rodgers heads, some Lombardi trophies.
Did you make those?
Yeah, bro.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We also got a slap emoji in there for all you Will Smith fans. Oh no. Yeah, we did that.
I mean, hey, shout out to the Oscars getting about 24 hours worth of airtime than they usually get, because everybody was still talking about it on Monday.
Dude, it's the most exciting thing to happen to come out of the Oscars in probably about 10 years.
I don't watch the Oscars. I'm not a big movie watcher. It'll take me a minimum of 6 or 7 years to see Coda. I couldn't even tell you.
I don't even know what that is. So whatever.
That won Best Picture.
Okay.
It won. That's what won Best Picture.
Whatever.
Oh yeah, the new overtime rule. The new overtime rule is that's big news. It only applies to the postseason. But I'll take that over. I'll take it. Regular season games are important as well, but I'll take the rule being in effect for postseason games. I'll live with that.
I mean, it was dumb that the rule that we've been living with for a while was the rule in the first place. And as a diehard Bills fan,
you especially feel
the
a certain
OT
way
rule
about it.
Change. That's great, much needed for the entire NFL. But it doesn't give me a playoff win back. It doesn't give me a chance to see my team in the Super Bowl. So, call me butthurt, but too little too late. Too little too late.
better late than never, but also it doesn't make it as a Bills fan, it's like, okay, great, cool, thanks for nothing.
And as a Buffalo sports fan, not just a Bills fan, I know we don't talk about hockey a lot on here, but just
we don't.
Buffalo sports, there's a lot of rule changes right after very important Buffalo playoff games. And I don't know if you guys remember back in the 90s, the Sabres were in the Stanley Cup against the Dallas Stars. And there was the whole foot in the crease situation, which led to the Dallas Stars winning the Stanley Cup over the Sabres and Dominic Hasek at the time. And one of the game-winning goals was illegal. And they changed the rule right after the game. So, we're used to it. This kind of stuff just happens.
At least now things are you are the sacrificial lamb. How about that?
There we go. Yeah, great. What's going on, CXK?
Yeah, let's go.
Thanks for joining us.
RB1. The report came out that he's going to have a significant role in the Saints offense for whatever that's worth.
I mean, I believe it. Darrell Williams had a significant run
last
year.
Is Darrell Williams still with the team?
No, he is not. Derek Gore is still with the team. But Darrell Williams, I believe, was RB20 in PPR and had 11 points per game. So he was very good last year. I know there are.
They actually threw him the ball.
Yeah, we had a comment on the Ronald Jones video that I put out earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
That said Ronald Jones league winner. I believe Alex put that on there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna say Ronald Jones is a league winner. But he should be valued higher than he's currently valued by the fantasy community, considering Darrell Williams, who didn't even get to 4 yards per carry last season, was the RB20. And the only person ahead of him is CEH,
who is a bust.
Right. Well, up to this point, yeah. And you could argue that he's going to get more passes thrown his way with no Tyreek. But Ronald Jones is being undervalued. He's being undervalued.
He's got a current ADP of 171. So
exactly.
That'll climb. I mean, a lot of that was baked into. We didn't know he only just recently signed and has been a free agent for this long. So it's like, what if he does sign with Houston or, another team that's clearly less fantasy friendly than the Kansas City Chiefs offense?
Yeah.
So, Ronald Jones is, at that current ADP, he's a league winner, but that's not going to stay the same.
Now, CXK had a question in the comment section of that video, and I said, why don't you just bring that question to the live stream? So I didn't answer that in the comments of that video, but his question was, what should I be looking back for in a trade? Who's a trade target if I'm looking to divest myself of Ronald Jones?
In Superflex?
Yeah. And I'm inclined to say, bro, the general consensus on Ronald Jones isn't good. And I think you should probably keep him.
Until we maybe see him during the season?
Yeah. And
what about I'll just throw a name out there, James Robinson.
Well, James Robinson has been a target for me regardless. You know this. I've talked about
So that's
James
why
Robinson
I threw the name. Like, would Ronald Jones net you that, right? Where it's like you can, he's healthy right now. Look at the landing spot. Look at how good it is. Robinson's coming off a late season Achilles injury and very well could miss the 2022 season, outright. Maybe he comes back later in the season.
Until CEH struggles, because let's be real, history would suggest that CEH is going to struggle with a full-time role, and they're going to go to more of a timeshare like they've alluded to in some of the comments that they've made about Ronald Jones since the signing. And then once Ronald Jones is kind of unleashed, and I put that in quotations, then you sell Ronald Jones for James Robinson, and considering James Robinson might not be playing next year.
Well, how about this? I mean, I guess CXK, right, is the one who asked the question.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the quarterback situation? Could you try to land yourself? I know this doesn't sound very enticing, maybe right today, right now, but like, I'm just throwing it out there, like a Baker Mayfield, like who's probably gonna get a starting opportunity somewhere, and is a dirt cheap enough commodity right now where you could ask for more, like a 2023 second, a 2024 second round, like I don't know, something like that. Just throwing it out there. I'm always in the market of like, how can I acquire a quarterback in Superflex?
Yeah,
something like that. I know that's not flashy. That doesn't sound very, very enticing, but neither does Ronald Jones.
Right.
So, I don't know, something like that, depending on your quarterback situation. If you're loaded, like, okay, maybe not. Hell, okay, here's one. What if you play the long game and say, I'll give it to you for Calvin Ridley?
I again think that would need to be an in-season move.
Fine. Again, and the thought, again, like I said, the thought process is you're playing the long game. I don't know. It depends. I guess it also, I'm throwing these ideas out here as far as like playing the long game. If you're a situation where you're looking at your roster and then like, I'm a top 3 contender, I want to try to get a piece now, then yeah, to your point, keep Ronald Jones, because he's likely to help you at least through the first month of the season.
Yeah, again, Darrell Williams in the same role that Ronald Jones is going to be in, with a 3.85 yards per carry average on the season, was RB20 in PPR. So he's not just a first and second down running back who spells the backup running back who spells the running back ahead of him and doesn't catch any passes. The role is going to be a versatile role. So I would probably wait until we see Ronald Jones on the field. He has a big game early in the season, gets a touchdown, maybe gets 80 yards and a touchdown or something like that. Then see what you can get for him for a guy like Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Like that out there.
Why not? I like that.
And yeah, Kyle, I'm glad you asked that question. I was floating. I was not floating, not to anybody other than myself. We'll put something out on Auden Tate because he is an analytics darling, and he's, as of today, March 29th, is that what it is? He's a wide receiver 1. He's his team's. He is his team's, not for fantasy outright, but he is his team's wide receiver 1. I mean, sure. There's absolutely, we'll absolutely have something out for him.
Can Auden Tate be what Rashard Matthews was for Mariota in 2015 and 2016? Sure. Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've seen good games, good stretches from Auden Tate.
He's a good player.
Excuse me. Before T. Higgins got there, before Jamar Chase got there.
He's a good
obviously.
player.
So yeah.
It's just a numbers crunch at this point for him.
Yep.
Rojo's a Saints fan. So maybe not a fan of the new overtime rule. You're in the Mike Tomlin camp. But, well, let's put it this way. The sudden death is, not a field goal, but the sudden death still applies in the regular season. So I guess there's a little bit of a give and take with the new rule.
Well, Rojo, I'm just going to respectively disagree with you.
John's happy to see the rule change as a Bills fan. Yeah, and as far as Taysom, I mean, they should just his classification should just be OW for offensive weapon, or however you want to classify it, because he lines up all over the place. And now that the Saints have signed Andy Dalton, between Dalton and Winston, I think it's fair to say the experiment at quarterback is over. But I think the way it works is the Saints have to designate him a certain way before any fantasy-related platforms can.
Makes sense.
So that's the holdup. So we gotta put a call into Gail Benson. games. See if we can get that changed.
Yo, Alex, thanks for joining us. I know you're a fan of Rojo. I don't know if he's a league winner, but he will be a good running back this year. I believe that.
Yeah. Should fetch something real nice in a trade by midseason. Well, yeah, if you believe he's a league winner, then obviously you're not trading him. But
Yo, E, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
What's going on, dude?
Thoughts on Akers?
I mean, I have no reason to do anything other than keep the faith. To expect anything at all from him in the playoff run, coming off a miraculous timetable of his recovery, is a massive accomplishment by itself. Sony Michel remains a free agent. Darrell Henderson was good, but not super effective on a touch-by-touch basis. They drafted Akers in the second round. If he's healthy, I have to imagine he goes back to being their number one, their 1A option.
Well, Darrell Williams, it's not that he's ineffective. He's actually very effective. Through 8 games, he was RB7 on the year. The problem with him is he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, that's been.
He's not a workhorse running back. He is a backup running back that you use sparingly, who can still be effective on sparse touches, a sparse workload.
Average.
But I mean, Cam Akers, you're exactly right. To expect anything of him in the playoffs, anything substantial from him coming off that Achilles injury, was expecting a lot. But he will now be a full offseason removed from a couple of games of consistent work.
Mm-hmm.
And he should be fully healthy from that Achilles injury. So
I
expect him to be a high-end RB2, low-end RB1. I don't know if he's going to break into the high-end RB1 group of running backs, but low-end RB1, high-end RB2, I think is within the realm of possibility for him. Like I said earlier, through 8 games, Darrell Henderson, who isn't the running back that Cam Akers is when both are on, was the RB7 through 8 games. So, yeah.
Yeah, Henderson did average 4.6 a carry, so that is pretty good. But yeah, he has had some injury issues. I mean, that's just a common trend that we see with running backs to begin with. But yeah, I mean, Akers pretty much essentially got his job back last year or in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
What's his ADP right now?
And honestly, the wide receiver core that the team is working with this year, at least early in the season, is going to be better than the wide receiver core they were working with last year. I would easily take, even though Allen Robinson had a down year, Allen Robinson over Robert Woods. I would.
Oh, without question. I'm fading Robert Woods this year, at least in redraft this year, just because he's coming off an ACL tear, and now it's a new offense. It's a low-volume passing offense, and while the Titans are an incredibly efficient offense, it's not a landing spot. It's not an awful landing spot, but it's not one that gets me really that excited for Woods. And
the fact that the coaching staff has multiple times since the Woods signing, was it a signing or a trade? It was a signing.
They traded him for a 6th-round pick.
All right. Well, since that trade, the Tennessee Titans coaching staff has come out multiple times and said he is one of the best run blocking wide receivers in the league. They haven't talked about him catching the ball. They haven't talked about his route running. They haven't talked about how steady of an offensive producer he is. They talked about his run blocking from the wide receiver position. So that scares me a little bit with Robert Woods. So yeah, not somebody that I'm looking at for fantasy production in 2022 and beyond. But Rojo Fish, James Robinson scares me because he's coming off of an injury. But more importantly, he's an undrafted gem, but this isn't the coaching staff's offensive gem.
No, it was actually 2 coaching staffs ago now that Robinson was the gem for. So we're hoping he moves on from Jacksonville essentially and lands somewhere else.
Well, part of the thing with him being
happen.
undrafted was that he doesn't have to be with the team for 4 years. He only has to be with the team. He's only in contract or signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars for 3 seasons. So after this season, after 2022, when we presume he will have the time to get fully healthy, maybe he'll see some work midway, late through the season. But like you said, there is a chance that he doesn't play at all in 2022. He will be on a new team in 2023. And we've seen James Robinson be a top 10 back in the league multiple times. This isn't a flash in the pan running back. He is good at playing running back.
Yeah.
And you can get him for cheap right now. You can get him for dirt cheap.
Actually,
pennies on the dollar.
I guess I just thought of this question, and I apologize for not already knowing the answer, but to your point about the 3-year contract, would he have to see game action this year in order for that 3rd year on the contract to toll?
I do not believe so, but I don't know that answer definitively.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure because we've seen this. This is like a common thing now with players who hold out. Eventually, they have to report if they want the year to actually toll. You know, if in a situation where players are not playing on a franchise tag, if they're still playing on, say, their rookie deal, and I guess I'm talking specifically about running backs, and they want more money, they need to actually play for the contract for that year to count. I don't know if it applies to an injured player.
I don't know either, and that's something that I'm going to have to look
check
into. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's possible Robinson needs to get, like, say, a game under his belt or just even a few snaps. But then I think the year would count because he played for the team technically in 2022. So I don't know if they would retain his rights for one more year if, in fact, he ended up missing the entire 2022 season, which would suck for both Robinson and fantasy managers.
But as it stands right now, he is set up to be a restricted free agent. So he is going to be a restricted free agent in 2023 at age 25.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I am still under the belief that James Robinson is a buy candidate if you're looking a year out, 2 years out at the running back position. So for you rebuild candidates, for you rebuild teams, James Robinson is a target for sure.
Yes, because it shouldn't cost that much to get him.
Yep.
Anybody who's like eager to just try to get a piece that helps them compete now. Yeah.
Again, top 10 back when he's been playing in the league as the starter.
And an Achilles injury is the type of injury that can scare, like, it can change all of that, right? But he's not 30. He's 23, right? 24.
He's 24 right now. Yes.
So,
RB7 last season, and I believe he was a top 10 back before going down.
Yep.
And CXK, you have Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jordan Love at quarterback.
Okay. I mean, so Lawrence, I think it's fair to say that, one, the jury's out on him, but I'm in a glass half full type of way. Like, I still believe in his development as a prospect just because Urban Meyer was such a train wreck. So getting away from that should just automatically, move his development forward. Tua, I mean, how can you not feel good about Tua right now? He himself is the one who has to put it all together, but the pieces are there for him to do it. Lance, we'll see. The vibes are down right now because now it's like, okay, what in the world is going to happen with Jimmy G? We're running out of landing spots to trade this guy. And then Love, I mean,
I'm not worried about Lance. I know
call it decent quarterback
from an NFL perspective, the team is worried about Lance, but we knew that Trey Lance was one of the rawest quarterback prospects to come out in a very long time. He was more raw as a prospect than Josh Allen, who he's been compared to, at least upside-wise. So I'm not too worried about Trey Lance. He only had 1 season of college production. This isn't a guy who had 2-3 seasons of college production, and he's still sitting like a Jordan Love. This is a guy who had 1 stellar season of college production. And, okay, so he needs to sit a few seasons. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm not too worried long-term about Trey Lance. So I know that the news is bad on Trey Lance. I'm not too worried.
For right now. For right now, it's like, oh, what's going to happen with this guy, you know?
Yeah.
But ultimately.
So would you, considering his quarterback core and considering it is obviously super flex, would you trade Ronald Jones or try to trade Ronald Jones for Baker Mayfield, considering he has that depth?
Maybe a little less interested because Baker's already 26. Not that that's old for a quarterback, but you got a bunch of young developing options. We'll see what happens. Like, hopefully, like, honestly, we're kind of, I would hope the Packers trade Jordan Love to somebody like the Panthers or the Seahawks or one of these teams that could just use any type of, like, camp battle at quarterback and just see what happens. But you're good. I think you're still, you're fine with Lawrence. Tua, I think, you know, you have to feel good about Tua. Lance is, a little bit more of a long-term view, but you don't necessarily need him quite yet. It would be nice if he was a starter to get that third quarterback to feel good about in case of bye weeks or injuries or otherwise. It's your call. If you feel like you're strong at running back and you could afford to try to sell a Ronald Jones, Baker's a target for me because you could ask for a little extra because the vibes are so down on him right now because like Ronald Jones, not just 1 week ago, there are questions about what's going to happen with him. Talking about Baker.
I know Jordan Love is an unknown commodity right now, and it's always enticing, it's always enticing to go for the unknown commodity over the known commodity. But if you can package Ronald Jones and Jordan Love and get an upgrade at quarterback, and then maybe if you're deficient at wide receiver, if you're deficient at tight end, move that running back for a depth tight end, depth wide receiver, and get an upgrade at that third, fourth quarterback position, that might be something that I would be looking to do too. Because I know the optics right now on Baker Mayfield ain't great.
Right.
But he's been a QB2 in fantasy and been a starting quarterback in the league for the past 3 seasons. And I know people don't love him. People don't love his attitude. But that doesn't really matter for fantasy. If he can be a QB2 for you, maybe a year into the future, 2 years into the future, I think I would make a move to move a decent running back who might be a decent running back for 1 season and then fall off depending on where he goes after the Chiefs, for a quarterback who could redeem himself, in 2023, 2024 and beyond. Because while Jordan Love is an unknown commodity, the vibes on him ain't great either. And it's not from an attitude perspective. People aren't over Jordan Love's attitude. The general consensus is he's not good at football. So maybe upgrade it, ship a running back, and ship a quarterback to get better at depth quarterback and get better at another position. Something to keep your mind on, at least.
Yeah.
Something to be open to. But hey, you're welcome. Thanks for being in the
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for watching the videos. As always, CXK, you already know.
Oh, yeah.
And Kyle, you picked up Tate for free last year, hoping that he'd find a new team. Good job.
Couldn't have been a better landing spot to be like, the competition is wide open. And honestly, there's no reason for them to not peg him right at the top of the depth chart.
And I like your current wide receiver depth is crazy. You don't even need Auden Tate, even if he were to enter the season as the starting wide receiver.
See if you can flip Tate for like a. Just be like, hey, who wants a starting wide receiver for a second-round pick?
No, honestly, I'd hold on to Tate and try to sell MVS on the hype or something like that. try to
Yeah,
sell
that could work.
KJ Hamler on the hype, because he at best is going to be the third wide receiver and probably the fourth or fifth target in that
Probably
Russell
fourth,
Wilson offense.
because Tim Patrick is still there.
Yeah.
So probably
So
fourth
I'd try to
at best.
divest myself of one of those other guys and probably keep Auden Tate, because he is. What do you expect to get back from him? You can get more value back for MBS. You can get more value back for Russell Wilson's third receiver, deep threat, something like that. Yeah, that's what I would do. But Alex, you had this question in the Discord. For all y'all listening, join our Discord. It's absolutely free, and you have pretty much 24/7 access to us in the Discord to ask us whatever questions you want, whether that's free agency, who to pick up on waivers, trade questions.
Yep, it's the link's in the description below.
Yep.
If you're interested, if you have Discord, if you're unfamiliar with Discord, it's basically just it's a chat room essentially. Yeah, quick and easy access to us as far as if you want to ask questions, just have a conversation with us, your fellow Face Mask clan, your community here. It's in the description below. But anyway, continue.
I mean, I'm not part of a clan. But
Face
yo,
Mask clan.
Alex.
The community. How about
there we
that?
go. Thank you. Much better. Like that.
All right,
Optics
all
are
right.
much improved. Alex, people are saying the Chiefs and the Packers will boost their rookie wide receiver value. Wouldn't we rather have the Chiefs player, considering that the Packers have 22 and 28 and the Chiefs have 29 and 30, and Rodgers should be leaving within maybe next year, next
2 years, 2-3 years tops.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, the short-term value for both, let's assume both go wide receiver because they both need him. The short-term, we're not worried about it. But long-term, if it's like I'm looking for a player who I ideally am not moving, we prefer the Chiefs player because Patrick Mahomes, the longevity is of it. He's got probably 10 years on Rodgers as far as being the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. And Travis Kelce's in the grand scheme of things not too far away from falling off. We hope it's not for another 3 or 4 years because it's a Hall of Fame talent that we get to watch. But it's inevitable, just like anybody else. So, the Chiefs landing spot is more ideal. Juju Smith-Schuster's only on a 1-year deal. I would say the short term, though, it's the Packers because they have nothing right now. At least the Chiefs had Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Travis Kelce. The Packers are obviously clearly better at running back at both spots. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon blow Ronald Jones and Clyde out of the water. But for pass catchers, it's Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Amari Rodgers, who we can briefly talk about, and then Robert Tonyan. I mean, the short term, it's the Packers, but the long view for dynasty purposes, of course, we want a weapon attached to Mahomes. There's no doubt.
I mean, it's not quite as cut and dry for me because we've just seen Mecole Hardman go to the Chiefs and do nothing for 3 years now as a second round pick, somebody who was supposed to step in and be their next Tyreek Hill. And he's already basically an afterthought. Whereas you see a guy like, DK Metcalf on the Seahawks was a wide receiver 1 when he was playing with Geno Smith.
Yup.
So you have to, it's not quite as cut and dry as this guy's going to be playing with Mahomes for 10 years versus this guy's going to be playing with Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, and then it's a question mark. I think it depends on the talent that's surrounding him and the player in question. I really think it does. In a vacuum, yes, you would rather the player that's projected to be on the Chiefs long term versus the player that's going to be on the Packers long term. But I do think it's prospect dependent. I do think it is something that we're not going to know for probably 2 seasons after they've been drafted, whether or not this guy's a better long-term asset than this guy, based on landing spot. And one of the benefits for keeping an ear to the streets as far as the value of these rookie picks pre-draft, pre-NFL draft, is that your takes and your rankings are less tainted by where they landing spot, which, as we have seen with players who have gone to the Chiefs in recent memory, can be a bad thing. You don't want to vault somebody up draft boards just because they got drafted by the Chiefs, or you might end up with the next CEH-like talent. You might end up with the next Mecole Hardman-like talent.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times in the NFL, it's better to chase actual talent instead of landing spot, which would have landed you a person like Amon-Ra St. Brown last season over somebody like Amari Rodgers, who people were probably high about being drafted by the Packers and playing with Aaron Rodgers, versus a guy who went to the lowly Detroit Lions. And I mean, hindsight 2020, we've seen what happened. But yeah, I do think it is a little bit more nuanced than just we want the guy playing with Mahomes over the guy playing with Rodgers.
Sure.
So I think this is a question that we might, at least me, I'm going to want to come back to after the draft, when we have a name attached to these picks, the 22 and 28 for the Packers and 29 and 30 for the Chiefs. But it is a good question, Alex. It's a very good question.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk a little bit about Amari Rodgers?
I mean, just that he's going to get every opportunity. That's it like you said, it's a nuanced conversation, because some of it is prospect dependent, some of it is just there's now 150 vacated targets in this offense and they got to go somewhere. And that's not even, actually, I'm just talking about Devontae Adams. I'm not even factoring in the how many targets, 60, 70 targets that MVS. I mean, talking 200 plus targets vacated from this offense. Yes, the Packers are going to add somebody. They're probably still they're an option for somebody like a Jarvis Landry, and it's not in there. It's not their MO to make trades, but they have to be exploring it. You have to imagine. But again, if you believe in the Packers' MO of building from within, which they are one of the tried and true organizations when it comes to to knowing this is their mindset, this is how they operate. Amari Rodgers is a decent flyer of an investment that, if you don't already have him rostered, shouldn't cost you that much to get him if you really want to take that shot. Comes from a major football program in Clemson, right? So, and again, it's like don't scout the helmet, scout the player, right? But they drafted him high. They have to think something of him. And the opportunity is there now. Randall Cobb is how old? 33, 34. We're down to Alan Lazard and Robert Tonyan. Equinemius St. Brown, is he still there?
Yes.
So
no, he's on the
did he move on?
The Bears.
My point is, there's not much, at least right now, in the way of competition or opportunity for Amari Rodgers. And when you're yes, sometimes you get a Mecole Hardman. But attached to a Hall of Fame quarterback, there are worse situations to find yourself in. And we've seen wide receivers not exactly go ballistic year one and still end up okay. Look at the guy who just left Green Bay. People were calling him a bust after his second year.
His athletic testing measurables were a lot better.
I know it's different.
And when you look at a guy like Amari Rodgers, his best comparable on Player Profiler right now is Lynn Bowden.
Yeah, that's not very good.
And for a shorter, smaller wide receiver, 5'9", yes, he's 212 pounds, but for a shorter, smaller wide receiver, you expect them to have elite speed or elite agility. Mm-hmm. And he has neither. He has very low agility scores from what he tested at. Very poor RAS for those that care about wide receiver RAS.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yep. So, I mean, as far as upside, the only reason why we like a guy like Amari Rodgers is because he's tied to Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has been a guy who has hyper-targeted 2 targets in his offenses for the past, 5 years? It's been Devontae Adams and then maybe 1 target. Last year, it flip-flopped between MVS and Allen Lazard. The year before, it was clearly Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan. And guess what?
Right.
He gets Tonyan back.
Yeah,
so
he gets Tonyan back.
So, yes, there is a chance that Amari Rodgers can carve out a role in 3 wide sets as maybe the slot guy in this offense.
Sure.
But how valuable is that? For a guy in Aaron Rodgers who hyper-targets typically 2 players. And I know that's going to change now that Devontae Adams isn't there because there isn't that wide receiver 1 to hyper-target. But, I mean, they're going to be trying to draft that guy this year, probably sometime in the first round, to give that target to Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know. Yes, on paper, you want wide receivers that have a chance to play meaningful snaps for Aaron Rodgers. But I don't know if I buy into Amari Rodgers being that player. So if I have Amari Rodgers, he's a guy that I'd be trying to sell just like MVS.
Well, MVS has done something. I just don't know. I don't know what you're going to get for Amari Rodgers. And I'm not, I'm not that I'm sitting here saying he's a high upside wide receiver 3. Just that there's an opportunity ahead of him is all.
If you can flip Amari Rodgers for a 3rd in this year's draft and draft Isaiah Weston, I would do that. I would do that in a second. If you can flip him into a 3rd and draft Jelani Woods in this year's draft, I would do that without thinking.
Time on Jelani.
You can find somebody who will trade you a 3rd round pick in this year's draft for Amari Rodgers based on the reason why you like Amari Rodgers. And that's something that I would do. It is.
There you go.
So we differ a little bit there, but
that's fine. Let's move on. We've talked a lot about him.
Have you heard of Cole Kelly? Because I haven't heard of Cole Kelly.
He's a quarterback. Where'd he go? He's huge. Let me look up real quickly. Southeastern Louisiana. I'll be honest, I know very little about him. But, I mean, he's 6'7", 250. He sounds like he needs to add 100 pounds and become an offensive tackle. Just like a massive body. It sounds like there's a lot working against him as far as weaknesses. I mean, he's got the size. Hell, he's not going to have any issues of seeing over his offensive linemen. But can't speak too much to him as a prospect.
I'm looking at his stats just to judge whether or not he is like a lesser Cam Newton type, where he is running in the red zone, running it in the red zone with his large body type. And he has, in 2017, he had 1,000 yards passing in 9 games. And in 2018, he had 455 in 9 games. And rushing in 9 games in the SEC, he had 74 yards rushing and 73 yards rushing in consecutive seasons. And it looks like he didn't play in 2019 or 2020 or 2021, judging by the stats that I'm looking at on sportsreference.com. So I'm staying away. I'm kind of ignoring Cole Kelly as a prospect because with a body that big, you're expecting him to be some kind of red zone rushing threat, and he clearly was not. And if you can't supplement that with some kind of elite passing traits, which he clearly doesn't have, I'm pretty much out. But good for him for being 6'7", 250 pounds.
Somebody might give him a look.
Yeah.
We'll see. What's going on, Quinn?
What's happening, Quinn?
Yeah, that's a nice little upgrade for the Cardinals. Along the offensive line, they certainly needed it, especially with what's in that division.
Thanks for the compliment.
Every now and then he looks all right.
Yeah.
Got to the Amari Rodgers stuff. Hopefully that was helpful if you were able to catch that. But let us know if you want any more diagnosis there.
Absolutely. Jason Rhodes, what's happening? Jason Fewer,
what's going on, boys?
You were offered the 2022 209 for your Albert O and a 12-team Superflex. Do not do that.
No. Keep him. Keep Alberto.
Honestly, unless somebody offered you a late first or something comparable.
Yeah, keep Alberto.
I'd be trying to keep Alberto.
You got a good tight end depth there. I would hang on to all three of those guys.
Absolutely. They're all young.
I would hang on. Yeah, hang on to your boys. Hang on to Alberto.
Great job getting good tight end talent. All those guys have RASs above 9, relative athletic scores above 9. So, good job. That's a great core.
And Quinn, you're right. Yeah, Quinn is correct to be hype on Njoku.
Yeah.
Been a little disappointing, but also the quarterback play he's dealt with some injuries, some inconsistency, and some bad quarterback play. He, as a prospect, is good. And the Browns committed $10 million to him finally.
Caught Austin Hooper, Harrison Bryant isn't anything special.
Right.
Love taking
I see some stuff about Harrison Bryant down below. Just a real quick shout. Thomas Wade, what's going on? Thanks for joining. I'll let John talk a little bit more about Harrison Bryant, but not super hype as a prospect. Njoku has a chance to be the number 2 option in this Browns passing game. So
I don't think it is a chance. I think he will be the number 2 in this passing offense. I like Donovan Peoples-Jones as much as the next guy, but I believe he had one very good game last year, and outside of that, he didn't do much else. And I know that had a lot to do with Baker Mayfield and the guys ahead of him in Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham at the time. But David Njoku had shown more through his career and shown more through just one season last year than Donovan Peoples-Jones has. So I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like the promise of Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like the athletic traits he brings to the table as a big-bodied wide receiver. But Njoku is basically a big-bodied wide receiver playing against linebackers instead of quarterbacks. Right.
I guess I was alluding to there is still a rumor out there that there's mutual interest between the team and Jarvis Landry for him to return on a reduced deal.
Did you see how much money he's asking for?
I didn't, but when push comes to shove, he'll
$20 million. He wants a $20 million contract.
Yeah, well, they cut him for 13 or 14, so the asking price will come down. My point being, I'm just saying could. I'm not as factoring that in. I'm make no mistake. I'm high on Njoku.
And I think the top 5 statement that you're making at the end of that chat comment, that's optimistic. That depends a lot on how long it takes Watson to come back, whether or not he's suspended or not. But as soon as Watson is the quarterback for this team, Njoku absolutely has top 5 upside weekly. I don't know if he's going to be a top 5 tight end in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But once Watson comes back, he has top 5 upside. Absolutely.
There you go.
And Jason, appreciate it. If you don't see the join button, the join link is the first link in our description show. So
But appreciate it.
But thank you very much. That would be much appreciated.
And you traded Kelsey. Okay. Okay, there's some details in here. 10-man dynasty, so it's one quarterback, but you get 6 points for a passing score. Removed kickers, kudos. Let's see. Before the trade, you had Lamar, Kyler, and Hurts. Some okay running back depth, but let's see what happens here. Oh, you dropped McKissick. That's a good line. I mean, okay. I'm just trying to. I see the depth. I see the team itself. I'm just trying to get to the trade details.
Yeah. Kelsey and a 2022 302 to receive Saquon and a 2023 first. That's a win.
Okay.
I think that's a win.
Okay. And you have the 103 this year. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like the trade. So you have, okay, so you still have Parham. You have Brevin Jordan. I like Brevin Jordan. Caught 3 touchdowns last year. I believe they moved on from Jordan Akins. Did they? Or he might still be there, but Brevin Jordan has surpassed him on the depth chart. Akins is not the receiving threat. No, he's a free agent, so you're good there. I like Brevin Jordan. He's not Kelsey, and might still want to look to acquire a tight end somehow, some way, because Brevin Jordan and Donald Parham are not, they're not guys that you can realistically lean on over the course of a season, or the next couple of seasons at that. But I do like Brevin Jordan as an excellent depth play at tight end. So hang on to him.
Now, I know you just picked up that 2023 first.
Yeah.
But if you can package the 2023 first with Brevin Jordan, who Brevin Jordan did well last year.
Yep.
But he was only fantasy relevant in games where he scored a touchdown, which you can say about a lot of tight ends.
You can say that about a lot of them.
Yeah. Outside of the elite guys, anybody who scores a touchdown has top 10 upside on the week. But if they don't score a touchdown, they're basically a tight end 2 or tight end 3 on the week.
Mm-hmm.
And Brevin Jordan, for what it's worth, does not have the greatest athletic profile. It's actually pretty average. So that might have been his fantasy relevance last season might have been just by nature of him being one of the only targets in the offense. So if you traded Kelsey for Saquon and a 103 next year, I know we really like the 2023 draft class, and getting a first in 2023, great job. But if you can package Brevin Jordan with that 103, and I don't know, message the TJ Hawkinson owner, message the Kyle Pitts owner, just to
Pitts
see
is
if
gonna be a
Pitts
tough,
it's hard. Pitts is going to be a hard sell.
Hawkinson's a good throw. I mean, hell, who's the tight end the Bills signed?
OJ Howard.
That's right. I mean, see if I did a best ball last night. Dawson Knox fell 40 spots below his ADP. Like, see if you could check on Dawson Knox.
But I wouldn't do the 2023 first and Brevin Jordan for Dawson Knox. I would need something else back.
But you would do it for Hawkinson.
Basically, if you can turn what you got from Kelsey into Saquon, basically if you traded Kelsey and Brevin Jordan for Saquon and Hawkinson, Saquon and Dawson Knox plus, Saquon and Dalton Schultz plus a lot, Saquon and Goddard, somebody like that, Saquon and at the high end, see if your Kyle Pitts owner is at all
gonna go
interested
ahead and
in that.
That's a no, but you can try
it out. That's all I'm saying.
Right. The worst that can happen is they say no.
Because you have a very good team.
Yeah.
You have a very good team. So I would outside of really tight end now, since you got rid of your tight end one. But Hopkins, Allen, OBJ, Cooks, Galladay, Ayuk, Mooney, Tony, Nico Collins. Your team can win now. And I know you're talking about trading Hopkins and Allen. You got a win now team.
Yeah, you do.
You got Zeke, Saquon, AJ Dillon, Madison, who we like.
Actually, maybe get some running back help. Maybe. The running back depth is thin.
I would try to pick up McKissick again.
Yeah, I'm worried Zeke hits the proverbial cliff this year. Like, you might be looking at a situation where Dillon is your running back one. Which I like Dillon, but if Dillon's your running back one.
With Hopkins, Allen, OBJ, Cooks, Galladay, Zeke, Saquon Barkley. This is an all-in right now team.
Sure.
But you're deficient at tight end right now, going into the season with Donald Parham and Brevin Jordan. If you can turn Brevin Jordan plus a pick, maybe that's a pick this year. Do you have a first this year, and maybe you want to keep that 23 first because we know what that 23 class is going to be? If you can package Brevin Jordan, who people are relatively high on right now, with maybe a first this year, with, if you can, a 23 first next year that you just picked up to solidify your tight end position, considering you just moved away from Kelsey to make the rest your running back depth better to compete this season. I think that's the move, because you have a win now in 2022 roster at running back and wide receiver. And it might be a 1-year window for this team, considering Zeke, Saquon, Hopkins, Allen, OBJ, Cooks, Galladay.
Older players, yeah.
Right. I would probably see if I can get a tight end that you can rely on for this season. Then see if you can find your way to a championship.
Flip the 2023 first for somebody.
Or maybe flip your 2022 first, because we might...
Well, he's got the 103. He's got the 103. He says he's trying to get Kenneth Walker.
Okay. I like Kenneth Walker.
Which would, again, help his running back depth. If that's the pick that you're dead set on, would help the running back depth, which is a little thinner. It's not as thin as tight end, but it would definitely help.
And then with that 207 that you have, if you don't draft Jelani Woods, I'm going to be angry at you. I'm going to be angry at you.
In the second round? Or do you...
Yes. In the late second, in this year's draft.
He's got the 305. I think
don't care.
You might be able to wait. You're not.
I just wrote up a script today at work. I hope my bosses aren't listening. I was at work pretending to work on work things, and I was writing up a script on, and this is the title of the video.
Jelani Woods is the swag.
Why I'm drafting Jelani Woods over Trey McBride.
Oh, spicy.
Hey.
I mean, I don't disagree.
At 207, let's just put it this way. I traded away the 205 in a trade earlier this year, a couple weeks ago, like a week ago.
You did.
In conjunction with other things to get something else. It doesn't matter. But with the 205, I was looking at Jelani Woods. I know that's high.
That's high.
That's very high.
That's ambitious.
But you got to go out and get your guys. That's just one thing in these rookie dynasty drafts. If you have a guy you really like and you think he's going to be around in the third round, but you have a late second, and you just want to walk away happy with your draft, that you got your guys.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to overpay a little bit to get your guys. Because they're probably your guys for a reason.
Yep.
So with that 207, yeah, go and get Jelani Woods, solidify your tight end room for the future. But I would also try to get a bona fide tight end for this season, so you can compete this season with that roster, Jason. Because you got to win that roster.
you go.
And with that roster, I'm probably trying to keep Hopkins and Allen. Though if you can package Keenan Allen and a second for 2 firsts, that's enticing, depending on the draft year of those 2 firsts. And you would trade Hopkins to a team that thinks he will still have the best team. He has the 105 this year and is a contender. Do you think this is the last year you can trade those guys and get peak value?
No,
and get peak value.
Well, right now, I don't think you can get peak value for somebody like Hopkins because he missed so much time at the end of last season. So we got to wait. Like, for a player like Hopkins, relatively speaking, you're going to get pennies on the dollar in a deal right now.
But even if he shows out next year, he's going to be a 31-year-old wide receiver next year.
So trade him after his first good game this year. But don't do it now.
For the 105, you wouldn't do that for a shot at Drake London, for a shot at Chris Olave?
Is someone going to give me the 105 for DeAndre Hopkins?
That's what he's saying right here. I would trade Hopkins to a team that thinks he will have the best team. He has the 105 this year and is a contender.
Sorry.
If you can get that done, if you can get rid of Hopkins and get a shot at Olave, get a shot at Drake London, that's enticing, considering next year you're probably not going to be able to trade Hopkins for a first.
Okay. I don't hate that. I would say not to kick the can down the road on this, Jason, but this is kind of involved, which is fine. That's not a problem. But if you can, join our Discord channel. It's in the description of the video. And you said I think he said he's driving right now or he's not home just yet.
Well, honestly, Jason,
let's talk through this in the Discord channel.
Once you become a member, one of the things that we offer to our members are full one-on-one with you and Nick and I in our own Zoom call, going over your team and setting up a roadmap for your future.
Yeah.
And this is a very involved question that involves multiple players and is basically setting a roadmap for you moving forward.
Yeah.
So when you get a shot, when you get a chance, if you can join our, if that's what you want to do, become a member of the YouTube channel and we'll set that up. We'll set up a one-on-one call because that's something we want to set up with all our members very soon. And we can get into this question and just a question of your entire roster and what you want to do moving forward in depth with you one-on-one. But as it stands right now, you got some ideas from us, so you can kind of play around with that. But also, even if you don't want to join as a member, join our Discord and we can have some discussions about this stuff too.
We could talk through this at length.
And I skipped Rojo Fish's comment when I was going through Jason's whole situation. We touched on Amari Rodgers. What do you think about Kylan Hill?
I think he's talented, and I think he is absolutely worth rostering. He's not too far away from an opportunity. Aaron Jones is 27. And yes, he just signed a 4-year. Was the first year of the extension last year, or does it kick in this year?
I can get you an answer to that right now, but continue talking about Kylan Hill.
I mean, he proved as a special teamer last year and as a kick returner, he's got some explosiveness. He's got some burst. And the Packers absolutely, at least right now, today at the end of March, feel like a team that could deploy 3 running backs over the course of the season in different ways. Hell, Aaron Jones could become more of a, not permanent, but more of a pass catcher this year and pave the way for A.J. Dillon to become the guy who's like the running back, for a lack of a better term. They're going to need somebody to spell Dillon in this hypothetical scenario. Aaron Jones has been essentially the team's wide receiver 2 more weeks than not, even with Devontae Adams. Who's
Yep.
to say that Aaron Jones doesn't end up becoming some pseudo Deebo Samuel type of wide back role for the Packers? Yes, we have to operate like they're going to add somebody, if not more than one somebody, through the draft or what's left of free agency. But Aaron Jones is one of the best pass-catching running backs in the league.
And has been for a while. Yep.
Yeah, and with so few weapons on the outside, and we've kind of highlighted this at length so far, who's to say the Packers don't deploy 3 running backs this year in a variety of different ways? I have to think Kylan Hill, okay, maybe not 2022, but he's not far away. He's not far away, and again, he proved on special teams. I know he missed the rest of the season early. He picked up a season-ending injury. When was that? Can't remember. I can't remember when. He picked up a season-ending injury, so we unfortunately didn't get to see more of him. But in the limited opportunities and time that we did see Kylan Hill, yeah, he put himself on the radar. He absolutely did.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if once Aaron Jones moves on, and right now they're not moving away from Aaron Jones this season.
No.
The
Not
most
for the next 2
ridiculous thing
years,
in the
I
world.
would say.
But in 2023, they can cut him and save $16 million in cap.
Which they might do.
And in 2024, they can cut him and save $12 million against the cap. So it's not going to happen this year, but maybe next year, maybe the year after that, depending on the weapons that they bring in to surround Aaron Rodgers with, we could be looking at a backfield that looks like A.J. Dillon in the Dalvin Cook role as a true workhorse, and then Kylan Hill as the Alexander Madison in a very productive offense, still helmed by one of the better quarterbacks in the league in Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
In 2023, 2024. If you look on Player Profiler right now, Kylan Hill's best comparable, surprise, Alexander Madison.
There you go.
So Kylan Hill is absolutely a pickup if he's on your wire. He's somebody to stash all season long.
Yep.
And maybe we just wait and see what happens in the 2023 offseason, 2024 offseason with somebody like Aaron Jones. And we see if the team tries to play some, tries to get a little funny with his contract and cut him. And there's a very good possibility that we see a backfield headlined by A.J. Dillon and Kylan Hill in the semi-recent or near future.
Not too far away future, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Where'd they draft him?
I don't know. But I don't know if you were around, Rojo. You were here at the beginning of the stream, so you know how we feel about Amari Rodgers. Nick's higher on Amari Rodgers than I am.
I wouldn't call it's just, I couldn't help but call out the opportunity. Oh, Kylan Hill, the 4th to last selection. I didn't realize he was a 7th round pick. I think he should have gone 2 rounds higher than that. Kylan Hill.
There were rumors that he was. He was highly thought of by the draft community. So not top 3, top 4, but higher than a 7th round pick. It was kind of a surprise that he fell that far.
Yeah. I'm not, that's a situation where I'm not worried about draft capital. I think he has already overperformed and proven that he was better than a 7th round pick. So, yes, he is a hold.
And Quinn, I agree with you. What fantasy is all about is having guys on your team that you like at the end of the day.
That you want. Yeah, it's a game at the end of the day. Play it to your heart's content.
Right. To that point, if you have the 207 and you want to go out and pick your guy who should be available sometime in the 3rd round, consensus available in the 3rd round, and you just want to get your guy, don't be afraid to go and get your guy, because the name of the game in fantasy, especially Dynasty fantasy football, is to get guys you like.
Yeah.
Get guys you're happy with. Guys
that your process leads you to like.
then my process would lead me to Jelani Woods.
Jelani Goat Woods.
Oh man, wait till that video comes out. It's coming out. It's coming out tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow, and then the next script that I'm gonna be working on is something on Auden Tate. So. Unless you want to take it. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk.
Yes.
We'll talk.
Yep.
We'll talk.
Is now the time to talk about Harrison Bryant? Do I got to talk about Harrison Bryant?
Sure, go for it. Thomas wants to talk about Harrison Bryant, so we got to give him something on.
What's going on, Thomas?
What's up, Thomas? John's not high on Harrison Bryant.
Now, this video that I'm going to reference is a video that's only available to members. It's a members-only video, but I did a deep dive on why relative athletic score, or RAS, matters for tight ends more than any other position in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If you have elite athletic traits at the tight end position, you have perennial top 3 tight end, fantasy tight end upside. At least top 6. Now, if you don't have that elite athleticism, and there are outliers like Zach Ertz and Tony Gonzalez didn't technically have elite athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
You can be an outlier and still perform well from the tight end position in fantasy. But it's just, you have to do everything else at an elite level. You have to play the game of football at an elite level. Harrison Bryant just doesn't have elite athletic traits at the position. Can he be a very good depth tight end for the foreseeable future and play a long career in the NFL? Sure. Is he ever going to have perennial top 10 upside at the tight end position? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. He will never have perennial top 10 upside at the tight end position.
Sorry, Harrison.
Considering the team loves David Njoku. And unless David Njoku goes down and Amari Cooper goes down and they're dealing with DPJ and Anthony Schwartz while Watson is the quarterback, I don't see Harrison Bryant being a weekly TE1 in fantasy.
Rough.
So if you have Harrison Bryant and you can sell him to somebody on, hey, look, I think he's a third-year tight end who's going to be playing with Deshaun Watson for the foreseeable future. Do you want this guy on your team in Dynasty? I'd be trying to divest myself of Harrison Bryant as soon as possible, while the appeal and while everybody's hype on Deshaun Watson being the quarterback there. I don't like Harrison Bryant as a fantasy tight end, and I did at one point. Nick knows this. He had him on his team, and I tried to trade for Harrison Bryant like 2 years ago.
I don't even remember.
Well, I remember.
Okay.
I remember. And
because I still have him.
Right. Yeah. I don't like Harrison Bryant, even though he will be a tight end for Deshaun Watson. I don't know if I like him all that much from a fantasy perspective. But he can still have a long NFL career at tight end.
Sure. The appeal is understandable. He's 23 years old. Will he be 24? He's 23. He's 6'5", 230. The measurables are there. It's just the intangibles just quite aren't.
He literally has a below average, like average relative athletic score for a tight end coming into the league dating back to 1987 is 4.8. And he has an RAS score of 4.68.
So not very good.
And even the guys that I referenced, like Tony Gonzalez, and Zach Ertz, while they weren't elite, they didn't have an RAS score above 9. They were in the 6s. They were in the 7s. They had well above average, just not elite athleticism. And Harrison Bryant has below average athleticism at the tight end position. And there has never been, as far as I know, in the past 10, 15 years, a top 8 tight end with below average RAS scores in fantasy. So he's all the way up my board, even as a depth guy, even as my 5th or 6th tight end. I'd be trying to get rid of him.
There you go.
CXK, you have a strange feeling that Bailey Zappi will have a long NFL career.
Didn't he have a solid Senior Bowl? Was he solid in the Senior Bowl? I know he's got the career passing yardage in college. He didn't play. He didn't play against the strongest competition.
I don't know hardly anything about Bailey Zappi, so
I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert on him. I know that he's got the career numbers in college. 5,000 career passing yards, I think. Let me just double check that. And I think he had a solid Senior Bowl. 6,000 passing yards.
Good for him.
62 touchdowns, just 11 interceptions on almost 700 passing attempts. The stats are there. He's only 6'1", but we've seen plenty of quarterbacks at that size do just fine. I mean, look, all I'll say is without acting like I'm an expert on Bailey Zapp, and I don't even know if I'm Zappy. I hope I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. Is the class is wide open. The quarterback class is wide open.
And he's a guy you can probably get in the 3rd round.
Yeah. You might be able to get him in the 4th, just as a developmental prospect. Where did he go to school? It was a smaller school. We're not talking about
He was in
the
CUSA conference.
Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky.
Conference CUSA.
I don't know.
Conference USA.
Okay,
Conference
there we go.
USA. That's Western Kentucky. Are they the Hilltoppers? They're the ones. They're the ones with the goofy red. Like they got that red blob as like their mascot. He like walks around. He looks like a dollop of whipped cream, but just the color red.
CUSA.
Or something
I'm pointing
like
it now.
that. Or maybe he's just like fuzzy. I don't remember. The Hilltoppers, I think. Yeah. Look, the numbers are there. And he did well against lesser competition, but that's what you want to see from an NFL prospect. Did he dominate? If it's against lesser competition, did he dominate? 6,000 passing yards, 60-plus touchdowns. I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah, he could see himself. We could see a 5-6 year NFL career as a backup, maybe some spot starts here and there.
Yeah.
See what happens. Class is wide open.
3rd round.
Class is wide open.
If you're in Superflex, if you're in the 3rd round, and
Sure.
Bailey's at late 3rd, early
Sure.
4th, and Bailey Zappi is there, and you're just looking for a long shot at quarterback.
Piece to take a look at. Yep.
Why not?
Piece to take a look at. Yep.
Why not?
Yep.
And yeah, Quinn, I agree. Jason Rhodes, hey, glad you like it. Glad you like the channel.
Appreciate it, Jason.
Rojo Fish, are we on the Zach Wilson bandwagon? Looked decent towards the end of the season. If they draft a Drake London or something, could be a decent little offense.
Could be. Oh, we got a super.
Yo,
Jason, appreciate it, dude.
Much appreciated.
Appreciate it. I didn't mean to kick the can down the road as far as the conversation, but just that it's pretty. Happy to have an involved conversation. Just I think it might be a little easier to talk through, and if you're able to join the Discord, that way we can really get into the intricacies of your team. Happy to talk through it, but appreciate the support.
Yeah,
with
the question that in depth, we don't want to give you a surface answer. We want to give you a really well-informed answer. We want to think about it a little bit. We want to see what draft picks you have, not just this year, but in future years. We want to see not just the starters at your position. We want to see your depth at every position. We want to see or at least get a good idea of what kind of free agents are available on the waiver wire, so we can really give you a good answer and set you up for success in the future. So,
absolutely.
Best way to do that would be to join as a member and let us and sit down with us for 15-30 minutes and let us really give you an in-depth idea of how we would approach your situation as it stands right now.
Yes, sir.
And just to be able to ask you, do you want to rebuild right now? Do you want to contend right now?
Bounce thoughts around. Yeah.
But thank you very much for the $9.99 super.
Appreciate it, man.
Much appreciated. Very kind.
Appreciate it. I think he said he was driving. Be safe getting home.
Yes, absolutely.
I
like Zach Wilson.
Happy to continue that conversation. I like Zach Wilson too. He's got escapability. Can run a little bit. Didn't do it a ton on a consistent basis as a rookie, but we saw that he can. He's got, he can break the pocket if he needs to and run around a little bit. Corey Davis had a down year last year. Call that a wash. The Jets didn't have a great season. First year with a new team, new offense, had some injury issues. Corey Davis is a decent player. Elijah Moore emerged last year, big time, also missed time. I think the end of his season pretty much got derailed because of COVID. He wasn't alone in something like that happening to players last year, but had like a little 2 or 3 game stretch where he was a high-end wide receiver 1. So the talent is absolutely there. I am warming up to Michael Carter as a player. I think he's absolutely an intriguing prospect. And they were in the Tyreek Hill conversation, so they're clearly looking to add more weapons. They signed CJ Uzomah, who is, doesn't inspire all the confidence in the world as like, oh, this is a huge upgrade. But Uzomah's a nice player, so that absolutely helps. Did they sign another tight end? Not Tyler Kroft. That was last year, but I feel like they added a second tight end. Regardless, they are constantly associated to whoever their favorite receiver is at the 4th pick. So they're clearly looking to add talent around Zach Wilson. The offensive line is still a work in progress, but that's okay with a quarterback like him who is mobile and able to use his legs. All that to say, you can get Zach Wilson in a redraft 150 some odd picks into the draft, and that projection might be a little higher. You might be able to get him a little later than that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I'm just fine with Zach Wilson.
No, I'm not sold that Zach Wilson is in 2 years going to be Baker Mayfield. I'm not sold that in 2 years Zach Wilson is going to be Sam Darnold in the league, a guy that isn't well thought of.
Sure.
I'm not sold on that. But he showed some good things in year 1. And for what it's worth, the Jets are building a team around him the right way. They are. They got a very young team with talent pretty much everywhere offensively. They spent high picks at O-line to keep the O-line solidified for him. Mekhi Becton. They're probably looking at another O-lineman in this O-line heavy draft this year.
The USC kid, right? I think
right.
Tucker, the hyphenated name, I apologize. You know who I'm talking about.
And they tried to surround him with wide receivers or surround their young quarterback with wide receivers, dating back to Denzel Mims, who's gotten worse press of late. But, Denzel Mims, highly drafted receiver. Elijah Moore, highly drafted receiver. They went out of their way to re-sign Braxton Berrios, which was an underrated signing because he's been a very good wide receiver for this team and isn't a free agent who's going to need to learn the offense. He knows it already. Corey Davis knows the offense. Second year on this team. Hopefully all of his health woes are behind him. They're putting the best team around Zach Wilson that they can. And for a lot of these quarterbacks that we've seen who've been kind of flash in the pans, 1-2 year wonders and then fell off, like a Sam Darnold, like a Baker Mayfield. I can't think of another team, probably outside of the Browns, who tried harder and smarter to put a good offense around their young quarterback. The Browns
The Dolphins
tried very hard to put a good offense around their young quarterback. It just didn't work out. The Dolphins are included now. The Dolphins have gone for broke trying to get a good offense around Tua in his third season. The difference is the Jets have been doing that from day one with Zach Wilson. They've tried to put the best foot forward with Zach Wilson in his rookie year with Michael Carter, with going out and getting Corey Davis, with drafting Elijah Moore. I mean, we looked at that team on paper going into the 2021 season and thought they could compete. Not for an NFL title, but they could perform well in fantasy somewhere in the offense, and they ended up doing that with Elijah Moore, very good fantasy wide receiver before he got COVID. Michael Carter, promising running back after his first year, and had stretches last year where he did perform very well.
Yeah, he looked good.
Quinn, I know you say the Jets need to improve first. They do need to improve at a few positions, but I like what the Jets front office has done around Zach Wilson. So I'm in on the Zach Wilson bandwagon until he proves me otherwise.
Agreed.
And I think they will draft somebody like Drake London or something like that, for sure.
Yeah, whether it's London, Burks, or Wilson, whoever their favorite one is. It makes sense.
All right, you want to get into Rojo Fish's trade that he thinks that we're going to hate?
Yeah, let's do it.
He traded Russell Wilson for Zach Wilson, 2022 110, 2023 first, 2024 first, second, and 2024 fourth.
Dude, what makes you think we hate that?
That's awesome.
That's a haul and a half. Holy hell. I like Russ. Don't get it twisted. He's a top, he's a top 8 option.
You get a clap for that. You're not going to get a slap for that like Will Smith. We're not going to reach through the screen and slap you real quick.
This is not a this is not a taking a joke too far type of situation.
No, I like that. I like that trade a lot.
I love that trade for you. I like Russ, but that's about the haul that the Broncos sent to the Seahawks for him.
And Russell Wilson should have a very good few years ahead of him.
Sure, yeah, it's a loaded offense. The arrow is trending straight up on Russell Wilson for the next 3 years. But to get a quarterback replacement in Wilson, plus 3 first-round picks and more picks,
and a second and 3/4. Don't care about the year.
Yeah, well done.
Very good.
Well
job.
done.
Very good.
Well
job.
done. Like John said, not a Will Smith slap across the face, but the enthusiasm of that slap is what I want.
No, you get claps. Good job.
Hell yeah.
You get claps. You don't get slaps.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Boom.
Don't hate this trade at all.
That's awesome.
Maybe I hate it a little bit for the other guy.
I think I do.
I like Russ, but
that's a lot. Considering Zach Wilson himself was a first-round pick last year, he basically gave up 4 firsts.
I'd take that for a better quarterback even. Maybe not Josh Allen, but to get 3 first-round picks, a second and 3/4, not to mention a viable high upside QB2 with room for growth. I mean, come on.
No, that's awesome. Good job, Rojo.
Yeah, well done.
Good job,
man.
Rojo.
Well done.
And Jason, hey, thank you. Thank you for the
if you're still in here, I know he said
appreciated.
he was driving home, but yeah, appreciate the conversation as always, and the support.
And I agree with Quinn. You win if you got all those picks.
You win, sir. Absolutely. Not that we and John's always has voiced this. I try to as well. Not that we're always in the business of winning versus I'm not trying to necessarily win the trade and fleece the person I'm working with. It's but. I mean, hey, if somebody's willing to give you that much for one player who is 33 years old, yeah, it's a win.
Yeah,
that's a win. Sometimes you have no choice but to look at a trade and say, yeah, somebody did lose that trade.
And somebody did.
Somebody did.
Somebody did. It's clear.
And it wasn't
you.
wasn't
you. Yeah. Yeah. Good job.
Yep.
Good job. Mike Lopez, thanks for joining us.
What's up, Mike?
Should I be trying to get Michael Thomas, and what
Sure.
should I be willing to give up? You've been a fan of Michael Thomas. Speak on him for a little bit.
So this update is a little old now, but Ian Rappaport reported prior to the Super Bowl that
is that
Michael
a silent
Thomas,
T? Is it Ian Rappaport or Ian Rappaport? Sorry to interrupt.
Silent T.
Okay. All right.
Silent
Continue.
T. Yeah, he's French, I guess. I don't know. There was a report that came out prior to the Super Bowl that Michael Thomas is on speaking terms with the team again, and that the injury to his ankle is progressing well. Already, two little tidbits of news that were better than anything we got related to Michael Thomas all of 2021. It's not Sean Payton and Drew Brees in New Orleans anymore. So Michael Thomas's days as the overall wide receiver 1 are likely over. But we've seen him be a high-end wide receiver 1 in this league before. And yes, he's a little older now. I think he's 29 now, Michael Thomas. He's a little older. He's not the spring chicken he once was. But this is a former top 5 wide receiver of several years running that you should be able to get relative to his old value for pennies on the dollar. You can kind of bake in some of the uncertainty into the trade negotiations as far as trying to acquire him. But if we're operating under the assumption that Alvin Kamara might miss the first 6 games of the season, or more, depending on the legal situation that he's facing, I mean, who's not to say that Michael Thomas isn't going to get absolutely all of the work in this offense that he can possibly handle? Because what else does New Orleans have on offense if you take Alvin Kamara away outside of Michael Thomas as far as a reliable, consistent option? I know they just re-signed Traquan Smith. This channel still believes in Adam Troutman, but these are nice, and I might be, being a little courteous when referring to Traquan Smith as nice. These are nice pieces to have on offense. They are not difference makers, at least not right now. Michael Thomas has proven to be a difference maker in this league. And if he is healthy and he is motivated, and by all accounts so far, I know, again, it's been about a month, maybe longer since these reports surfaced, but if they are to be believed, and they came from the NFL Network, on speaking terms again with the team, ankle injuries progressing well, yeah, he should be a target for you. What specifically? See if you can throw a second-round pick out there. If it's not the 201 or the 202, like, do you have something later than the 205? I'll throw something out there like that.
Honestly, if it's the 201 or 202, I would probably do that too.
Still do that anyway?
Right now, yeah. I mean, this is a guy, I know he was playing with Drew Brees at the time, but got 185 targets in 2019 with largely the same receiving core outside of Marquez Callaway. And if, to your point, Alvin Kamara isn't there for a stretch of the season or even the whole season while dealing with his legal troubles, that 185 targets doesn't seem that far outside of the realm of possibility for Michael Thomas. In that season, he had almost 100 more fantasy points in PPR than the number 2 receiver in 2019, who was Chris Godwin, who blew up that season with Jameis Winston. He had 374.6 PPR points to the number 2 receiver in the league that year, Chris Godwin's 276.1. He was literally within 2 points of being 100 points over the next best fantasy receiver in all of football. Michael Thomas is real good, and people might have forgotten that after the lost 2020 season and the 100% lost 2021 season. But that's also a year off where he's not racking up hits and getting his body hurt in other ways. If he can get his ankle right, which it looks like, and he comes back as a 29-year-old wide receiver, and pretty much the only bona fide target in this offense, with a Jameis Winston probably at quarterback 1 for this team, who has been a top 5 quarterback in this league and has been one of the only quarterbacks to support 2 top 8 fantasy wide receivers since coming into the league, which he did in 2019, I believe, with no, it was 2020 with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. No. Was it 2020? 2018?
2019 was his wide receiver 1 season, his overall wide receiver 1 season.
Yeah, but there was a year in there with Jameis Winston where Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were both within the top 8 fantasy wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, that was Jameis's last year.
Point being, Jameis Winston is awesome, and he can get Michael Thomas to those wide receiver 1 heights again. He can, especially if Michael Thomas is the only bona fide pass catcher in that offense.
Yes, he can.
So even if you have the 201, 202, if a team is willing to do that and you're ready to contend right now and you're 1 wide receiver away or 1 flex spot away where you can throw that guy into one of your flex spots,
throw a second round pick out there and see if it lands.
That's a win.
Throw a second round pick out there and see if you can get him. I am absolutely an advocate for Michael Thomas this year.
Yep.
No question.
And Jason,
Rojo, thanks for stopping by, man. He's got to leave. Just appreciate the support as always. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, thanks, man. Catch up with us in the Discord later, and we'll talk about whatever. If there's anything,
we'll chat about whatever later,
or anything like that. Yeah, and we also got to talk to you about and AB and a couple of the other members about getting one-on-one times with you and getting the members only streams started with you guys. So we got to figure out a schedule there. But thanks again, Rojo.
We will sort that out.
And thanks again, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll post the link on the Discord too, so just to make it easier for you.
There you go.
Well, what's happening, bro?
Well, he's here to cause trouble.
Uh-oh. You're asking me specifically, John, who do you like after Brees in a rookie superflex draft? Give me like 2 or 3 names.
Wonder if this has anything to do with the fact that they pick right after each other.
Well, just to give everybody a little bit of context. I'm in a Superflex league with Will and Nick. Will has the 201, and I have the 203 and 204.
For the 102 and 103 and 104.
Yeah, that. Sorry. Brain fart. Long day.
It has been.
I mean, Brees Hall is the surest thing in this draft. Hands down. Over any of the wide receivers, over any of the other running backs, over any quarterback for sure. Brees Hall should be the 101 in this year's draft. From an athletic comparison, Brees Hall compares athletically to Jonathan Taylor and LaDainian Tomlinson. That's crazy. Crazy to say, but those are the athletic comps for Brees Hall.
There you go.
Now, if you don't have the pleasure of drafting in the 101 spot, and you're looking at other players, basically everybody else. Well, I know you asked this question to both of us about Malik Willis or Garrett Wilson or Treylon Burks in last week's stream. And, I mean, you could really go any way there. What I will say about the wide receivers in this year's draft, they're a little bit more landing spot dependent. I mean, if Treylon Burks could fall. DK Metcalf posting a 4.3 in the 40-yard dash fell to the end of the second round in the NFL draft. He was still very highly drafted in Dynasty rookie drafts, but Treylon Burks, who's been compared to a DK Metcalf-like talent with lesser athletic measurables, could fall in the NFL draft. And we could see players like Jameson Williams, Chris Olave go to the Chiefs. Jameson Williams has been linked to the Chiefs. Chris Olave has been linked to the Packers. Garrett Wilson has been linked to some of these other teams like the
Saints. I see the
like
Saints,
the Saints
thrown in there.
I mean, you alluded to it earlier. The Jets need a wide receiver.
The Jets might just
somebody
do
like
it
that.
at 4. I think
These wide receivers are a little bit more up in the air.
I think the league is going to somewhat overcorrect themselves as it pertains to Treylon Burks because of DK Metcalf. Just wanted to throw that out there.
It's a possibility, but this is a league that doesn't overcorrect often as well.
They are the definition of insanity.
The surest thing after Breece Hall, it's not Malik Willis. It's Kenneth Walker. The surest thing after Breece Hall is Kenneth Walker.
Agreed.
Hands down.
Guy's a big-time riser right now. Big-time riser.
After Kenneth Walker, I mean, then in a super flex, you're talking about Malik Willis, Treylon Burks, maybe Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, somebody in there.
I think it's Wilson, personally.
You think it's Wilson?
I'm very bullish on Wilson.
Considering, depending on what your need is, it's either Malik Willis, who has just as high upside as literally anybody in the NFL as a dual threat quarterback. If you can put it all together, Malik Willis is somebody to talk about at 103. Treylon Burks, for me, it goes Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, then the rest of the guys. So at 103, 104, you're looking at Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, Malik Willis. It's hard to say without knowing their landing spots, which I would rank ahead of the other, because they are in a group together. They're in a tier together. And then after that, after Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Malik Willis, Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson are off the board, then you're looking at guys like Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, depending on the landing spot, Drake London, depending on the landing spot, that group of players. It's really hard to say definitively. I want to give you a definitive answer here. I know you're only saying 2 or 3 names, but I like kind of just outside of saying those 2 or 3 names in a tier, I kind of want to give a clear-cut ranking to you and to everybody else who's in here listening right now. I want to be able to say it's Breece Hall, then Kenneth Walker, then dude. Last week you said edge goes to the quarterback. You said who would you be looking at 103 Superflex? I believe you said Malik Willis.
Edge goes to the quarterback because of the potential upside of hitting on the pick, and even if you do. Here's the thing about quarterbacks, especially as it pertains to Superflex. This does not pertain to one quarterback leagues, but in Superflex leagues, quarterbacks can still retain some level of value even if they don't show out in the first couple of years of their career. You can still trade, and we see this in the NFL. You can still trade a quarterback. It's not going to be what you drafted in that. But if it doesn't pan out, there's always going to be a need at quarterback somewhere in a Superflex league, like in the NFL. People are always going to be looking for quarterback depth. The smart owners are anyway, the people who actually know what they're doing. You can't necessarily say the same about a running back or a wide receiver who busts. If a quarterback doesn't do well the first couple of years, you can still hold out hope because maybe they get traded to a more favorable situation.
Excuse me.
And because of the upside that they bring to the table, especially with the intangibles like a Malik Willis has, that would, in general, lean me to go quarterback over if it's not clear-cut prospects like a Breece Hall. So for me, yes, if I had to rank them, it would go Breece Hall, still the safest. I think I would then say Willis. I would then say I go back and forth between Wilson and Walker and then Burks.
And to me, I go Breece Hall, then Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, he's moving
and
way up.
And then probably Willis, because I mean, think about it. Unless you have Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, you could have literally any other wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who are all very good wide receivers. But if you try to turn them into a quarterback, you're probably getting a mid-tier quarterback or a quarterback with some sort of warts on him for these elite wide receivers. I can't turn A.J. Brown into Josh Allen without adding a few firsts. The value just isn't there. And we've seen teams, even in the league that we're in together, Will, where a team like, and I'm just going to say it, and to all you guys who don't have the context, sorry, you don't have the context. A team like Sam's team made the playoffs, or made a push into the playoffs because he had Josh Allen. If he doesn't have Josh Allen, it almost doesn't matter that he has Jamar Chase at wide receiver. You have the best quarterback at the position. You are perennially in contention for the playoffs in fantasy. And that's the benefit of drafting a Malik Willis over some of these skill position players. One of these skill position players, like a Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, one of these guys could be a top 5 dynasty wide receiver after this first year. But unless they're Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, you're not going to be able to trade them straight up for an equitable top 3 quarterback. You're just not, without throwing a few firsts at it. Quarterbacks just matter more.
They just matter more.
So in Superflex, that's why I'm going Malik Willis probably at 3. And then Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, whichever one you happen to like more, at 4 and 5. And then the rest of the group. And then it's the rest of the guys. Then it's the rest of Drake London, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, Isaiah Spiller if you like him, any other quarterbacks if you like them, because again it's super flex, any of those guys. But there you go. There you go, Will.
There you go. I think you wrapped that up nicely.
Probably went a little bit too long on it, but whatever. Logan Hampton.
What's up,
What's
Logan?
happening? Who is
Auden
the
Tate,
best
baby.
ATL wide receiver to pick up? I would have to
Auden
agree.
Tate.
I would have to agree.
Auden Tate. Analytics darling. Finally getting a legitimate opportunity, because as of right now, he is the top of the Falcon. He is, or should be, at the top of the Falcons depth chart, which is quite simple. They've got nobody else.
Russell Gage is on the Buccaneers.
Right. It's Olamide Zaccheaus and Frank Darby, and I think there's like one other guy that I'm forgetting, but no offense to that guy, there's a reason.
No, that's pretty much it.
It's Auden Tate. He's the pickup.
I mean, Kyle Pitts is their wide receiver 1, but if you're looking for the team's wide receiver 2, it's Auden Tate.
I'm taking, right. Yeah, it's Tate, and we'll have a video out on him no later than the end of this week.
Yeah.
On Tate. AB, I don't think we said hey yet. What's going on, man?
What's going on, AB?
Don't think we said hello yet.
I threw your face in the emojis, bro.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
And he used it.
Love it. Love to see it.
You love to see it.
And Rojo, the trade was something he offered. Hey, might as well pick up some extra fourths.
Yeah, hell yeah. Take a look down the line. Maybe everybody in your league is sleeping. You can get Jelani Woods all the way down in the 4th. Oh, they're 24 fourths. That's
it doesn't matter. The same principle applies if you paid attention to either of the RAS videos that dropped. There are guys with high RAS that are drafted, that are not drafted, that are available in the 3rd and 4th round every year that pop off.
Yep. Assets are assets.
Nico Collins could have been had in the 4th last year. Before that, there are names like, I know this is going back far, Martavis Bryant, Kenny Galladay. I'm blanking on a few of the other names I threw in there.
A couple of years ago, Antonio Gibson was a 3rd-round pick in some rookie drafts.
Yeah.
3rd
Chase
rounder.
Claypool
fell a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hell, I got Elijah Mitchell in the 3rd last year.
So yeah, those fourths, if you can turn some of those 2020, if you want to make a play for right now, Alex, love that slap emoji in there. If you can, turn like 2 of those 2024 fourths into a 2022 fourth, and draft a guy like Isaiah Weston, who I absolutely love. He literally has the best athletic profile of any wide receiver ever. He is the only wide receiver who has a better athletic profile coming into the NFL than Calvin Johnson. Isaiah Weston, remember the name. It's not a guarantee for NFL production and fantasy production, but if you're going to take a shot in the 4th round, why not go with a guy who has elite athletic traits?
Yeah. So, target the measurables at that point.
Yeah, if you can turn 2 of those fourths in 2024 into a 2022 fourth and draft a guy like Isaiah Weston, love that.
Or a 2022 fourth, right?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Long day.
It's okay. That's why I'm here. Autocorrect. I'm the human autocorrect.
The kicker whisper autocorrector.
Got you. Hold it down.
But yeah,
anyway.
Great trade.
Yes, sir. Fortune, what's going on?
What's going on? What's going on, bro?
Great trade earlier.
Yes, sir.
And then AB, is Parham a hold anymore in Dynasty? You bet he is.
No.
Yes. Get out of here.
What you mean, bro? Gerald Everett.
Stop. I like Gerald Everett. I do, but Parham is a hold.
He all right.
He's fine. He's not a drop. I don't think so.
I don't think he's a drop, but I think he's somebody that you should be trying to. You should put on the trade block because there are people that feel very strongly
down right now, right? Because of the Everett.
There are people that still feel very strongly about Donald Parham because he's 6'8",
right,
at the tight end position, and he's all potential. I just don't know if we're ever going to see the team invest in him because yes, they picked him up from the XFL last year, the year before last year. But last year they drafted Trey McKitty in the 4th round, and then this past offseason they went out and got Gerald Everett. So even though he was on the team itself has picked up 2 tight ends to supplant him, which means to me, while he does have technical fantasy upside and technical NFL upside, there's something that is deficient about his game that will keep him off the field playing significant snaps for the Chargers. And because of that, I'm looking for a team in my league who doesn't see it that way and trying to move Donald Parham to one of those teams. Now, before the Gerald Everett move, I would have said, sure, he's a good flyer at tight end. Why not? Great offense. Could find a way to number 1 snaps with his only competition being Trey McKitty, who hardly saw the field last year. But since Gerald Everett's there, and this is a team that in the Justin Herbert era has signed good NFL tight ends to 1-year deals perennially. Jared Cook before Gerald Everett. I just don't think that this team is ever going to give Donald Parham the snaps that we want Donald Parham to get.
All right, fair enough.
So I'd be trying to move Donald Parham.
Try to move on.
It's not that I would drop him because he doesn't have no value. You can recoup some value and get a 3rd round pick. Draft Jelani Woods.
There you go.
Unless you're in a draft with me, leave him to me.
Leave him on the John's gonna draft him at the 201 by the time we start drafting. George Pickens or Jelani Woods.
Yo, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
I'm going to. I'm
Don't
going
tempt
to.
me.
I'm gonna throw that out into the universe. Just saying. Looks like we have reached the end of the chat. Have been going for about 2 hours. So if there's any last second questions or comments that you guys have, happy to take them. But we are going to start winding this down. Again, one more time, in the description, all you have to probably do is click show more. Our Discord is near the top of the description if you care to continue the conversation over there. Looks like Mike Lopez joined. So thanks for joining, Mike. Good to see you there.
Thank you, Mike.
So if anybody else is interested in joining there, that is absolutely 100% free. And then we also have our member opportunities. John, I'll let you talk through those a little bit if you want.
Well, I just want to say, AB, I did make that emoji with specifically with you in mind, because you're one of our diehards. You're always in here. So I when I threw that emoji in the members only emoji.
Look at that! You're influencing his draft plan too.
Can't watch out.
There you go. Get Jelani Woods, man. Everybody go draft Jelani Woods
in the first round. Do it.
Not the first round, but you already know.
Yeah.
Draft Jelani Woods. Big fans. But anyway.
But as far as the members-only content, we got members-only videos. We've already put out 3 members-only videos for the members that joined last week on Thursday. So we've been putting in the work for our members. We haven't set up members-only live streams yet, but members-only live streams are definitely going to happen so that we can talk to the diehards and... yeah, just talk to the diehards. What else we got? We got one-on-one. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We got one-on-one team consulting. So if you got a Dynasty league, if you got a keeper league, if you got, well, mostly those two.
Mostly Dynasty.
If you're a member and you got a keeper league and you're wondering who you should be keeping, we'll go through that with you too. But yeah, you're right. It's mostly Dynasty.
Hell, if it's honestly, and we'll be flexible. If it's a redraft league and it's August and you just want to have a powwow with us of like, what should I do? Who do you guys like? We're happy to do that as well. But right now, we offer one-on-one opportunities with the members to go through your Dynasty roster and do a deep dive where you get one-on-one time with us, and we'll talk through what you're thinking, maybe what we're thinking, just based on taking a look at the roster. Gives you guys some more time with us, with one-on-one, uninterrupted, complete focus on our end, where we're just looking at your squad and figuring out a plan from there. But yeah, outside of that,
that's in the primary tier, and then we got a secondary tier where if you're willing to, or if you got the spare change to be able to pay up a little bit into the member structure, you can draft with us.
Yep.
We'll once we get enough members in the for our YouTube channel, we'll have the ability to make leagues with you guys and be able to draft with you guys, and then just go and try to win against you guys and see what we can do. And there are different formats we can play with. We've thrown around guillotine leagues. If you don't know about guillotine leagues, look them up. It's a really fun concept that I've never done, and I don't think Nick has either, but it's something we want to explore. And then, we with keeper leagues, stuff like that. Maybe we'll even get a Dynasty league going for you diehards that want to stick around for a long time. We'll see. Anything's really up. Anything's up in the air. Everything's up in the air. Anything's a possibility at this point. We just still got to get enough members to be able to form a league, because we're not going to form an 18 league. That's not. 8-team leagues, not our thing. We want to have at least 12 teams. So yeah, that's about it as far as what we offer for our members. Also, early access to Nick's 2022 draft kit, and basically yearly draft kit. Once he gets to work on that, a certain tier of our members will get early access to that draft kit, and be able to start formulating their plans for whenever they draft and for this upcoming season earlier than the rest of y'all. So that's another added perk.
little more catered to redraft, but yeah, I'll go in my tank and exclude myself from the world and put that together.
Boom. There you go. Well, that about does it as far as going over what we got planned for you members out there, you prospective members. 14-man leagues are the sweet spot, AB.
I would love to
I
do
agree.
it. I would love to. Absolutely.
But that about does it for today. We didn't have a concrete subject for today. We just wanted to talk with you guys about whatever trades or whatever players you guys wanted to discuss, and we did that. But thank you for tuning in with us for this 2-hour-long live stream. We appreciate it.
As always. Yeah.
We will be back Thursday, same time, same place. You already know. So come and join us in 2 days.
Sir, sounds good. Have a good
tomorrow,
night, everybody.
Tomorrow I'm putting out a video about Jelani Woods.
Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out.
And we'll have some Auden Tate content for you soon too.
That's all. Yep, that's also on the radar. So, yep, stuff is in the works. Stuff is cooking.
Yes, sir. Hey, y'all, have a great night.
Have a good night, everybody.